Good morning, Pretoria. Hi, everybody. This is Aggie, founder, Splinterlands. You might know me. I'm joined by Weirdbeard, exceptional gentleman.
What's up?
Uh, we're here to go do the Splinterlands Town Square. So we have the Splinterlands Town Hall, which is really like the Splinterlands company goes and presents a whole bunch of stuff that we're working on to the community, so that you guys can make whatever decisions you want. Today is less about that and more about just kind of interacting with you guys. Um, Weirdbeard, can you think of anything that maybe they might want to interact with us about or talk about?
I'm hoping that they had a chance to poke around in Land 1.5 that was put
No,
out into the map
land.
server this weekend.
Yeah, we released that, didn't we? That was what, Friday night?
Yes, very late Friday night.
All right, so today's Monday. So they've had it, actually, you know, I'll just let this slip. It's September the 18th. Turns out I'm 44 today. So
Ooh, happy
making
birthday!
making it another time around the sun, if you are a heliocentric globe believer. Um, okay, next up, this whole land thing. So what would we? I mean, what can they do? Like, what is land at this point? Like, I know it's 1.5, but like, what does that even mean?
I mean, Land is a new game mode, essentially, is the way that it's has to be looked at because this is not something that we just put out and then it's out. There you go. Like this is going to take constant development, upkeep, and planning over the next many years to to be able to execute and get where we're looking at. One of the internal conversations that we always have is that this is called Land 1.5. Um, we definitely should not call it Land 1.5. This is like Land 0.5 because we're halfway to essentially what land should be doing, not only from like a functionality standpoint, but all the things that are going to be added in that this is not even the full release, which is daunting, but also a good thing because it means that we have lots of planning and lots of things that we're hoping to execute with
So what? So when I poke around at land,
it. Mhm.
I can go claim my token, my region tokens, or my plot or tracks. I can reveal them. I can then assign workers onto those. And the workers come in the form of various NFTs, including the cards, the monsters, the summoners, the units, the titles, the totems. I understand there to be some Rooney interaction, but it's not really live on the QA side or the Mav
Mhm.
side. And then after staking them, I can go make work sites that can produce either grain, research, or mine SPS. And there's a tax function for the keeps and castles where after I or somebody else in the region and or tract has done some harvesting, you got to give Caesar what is Caesar's, and a portion of the tax goes to the castle or keep holder.
Yep.
And I think maybe that's not everything because I can transfer grain, I can stake DEC in a region. Um, but I think that's the bulk. Did I miss anything?
I mean, there's some things like time crystals and totems and other little doodads here and there, and grain and what the purpose of grain is. But I mean, you got the nuts and bolts of it. Essentially, you're going to be able to take your units, your cards, and find a place for them on land. So if you're somebody who maybe is looking for a different experience than what is currently offered in our base like core gameplay loop, you're able to interact with this land thing and be able to go and do some cool stuff with your cards and see some returns. And it depends on where you want to focus. Do you want to be somebody who um, produces grain and sells that off to other players who are going to need it to power their workers? Are you somebody who's going to focus primarily on just mining your own SPS and being able to, essentially make resources that way? Or are you doubling and tripling down on research, which is something that is coming in the future and is going to be very hard? It's time intensive and laborious to be able to mine and create. So do you get started on that because of how crazy that's going to be? It's a real choice, and I think people are going to have a lot of fun with that.
Um, Are there updates you'd like to give about land? Like any kind of status stuff or really anything? Just for the record, this show is not about me and Weirdbeard like talking about land for an hour. We want to give some updates because we know people want them. But then after that, it's really like, hey, let's go get the people talking. So if you guys are going to have questions or things that you want to bring up or concerns or just excitement, whatever you want to share, we're hoping that you'll come on air. Just raise your hand in the main stage area. Ron will bring you on air. Um, but before we do that, why don't you just kind of give us whatever other update you want to give about status of land and what still needs doing.
Yeah, I mean, I would love for people to be able to come on and tell us a little bit about their first impressions and how they're using land and what gets them excited. The things that I was going to highlight are not only the ability for people to be able to submit their own tickets. Let me grab that link and be able to drop it in the channel right here. If you are somebody who is playing around, you can take this link and report a bug directly to our devs and to our triage team so that we know what we need to be doing. As of right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 22 bugs. A lot of those are doubles and triples. Um, with a whole bunch of suggestions as well put in there, which is nice because we're getting stuff from the community. Some of them we already knew internally, so it's nice that people are finding the same things that we are. Um, and then we also have all of our 1.5 issues that we still have to fix before we go public. As of right now, we're sitting at around 17, and that we're working hard at being able to knock those out and get those done. And yeah, I'm just excited to hear how people will want to be able to use land and what it means for them. So I'd love to have people come on stage and talk to us a little bit.
Well, what about those? Are those bugs like we've done nothing about them? Are they all finalized and ready to ship? Are we still hunting them? Like you said, 18. It's kind of like one of the best analogies I have for development is sort of like your GPS system when you're in Los Angeles, and it's like you are 3 miles away and you're like, I don't know how long that is, depending on what time of day and all the other things. I know I'm 3 miles away,
Mhm.
but I don't know if that's going to take me 3 minutes or 3 hours. So we have 18 bugs. Is it a bug per day, a bug per a week, a bug per year? Like, what's our um, how do you wrap your head around the fact that we have 18 bugs? How many people are working on it, and like what is the size of that?
Well, I mean, to put it in context, we have 33 that are in QA and being shipped out right now. So, I mean, 18 is not terrifying. It's definitely more than one a day. And sometimes some of them are even connected to each other. Uh, they're this random bug. Uh, PP to clear a common magical plot is 9 million. Okay, well, I think we just wired up the wrong thing there. Um, but then there's also some things like, hey, we're sometimes getting negative efficiency on slot pages. Okay, what are we doing there? What are we doing for, there's a bug where we have the land plot bonus is not being applied, and that's just finishing a table on the back end. And then there's some that are bigger. The total boost display and calculation appears to be wonky sometimes, or screen shows incorrect state when exceeding the 100K base PP cap. So there's some goofy ones that are harder than others, but I would say that it's definitely not like you said, it's hard to put the full, like, Monty timeline on it, but I will say that we got the really, really, really critical ones out of the way before we went to map server. So the ones that are left are, at least the next level down from the, "Oh my god, everything's exploding and nothing works." To answer a couple of questions that we see popping up in the chat, Virus asking, would there be a way to see the outstanding bugs that have been reported so we are not duplicating? Unfortunately, no, we can't show that outwardly, um, just in case there is something on there that could be exploited in the future. And can we get a warning in time when you're ready to make 1.5 live, like a week notice or so? We're going to try to give as much of a notice as possible. We don't want to spring it on anybody. So yeah.
Do you have any initial timeline that you want to report today, or are we still, it's too much unknowns?
Not too much unknowns, but we need to rally the troops. The big thing from this weekend, more than anything else, was that it was a stress test. Like that's what everybody's like, "Oh my god, I'm getting Tapos errors," which is just from the blocks running behind on the test servers, the Mav servers, because we put all of our horsepower into the real big boy servers, and then these are kind of our mess around Fisher Price servers. And it's not only that, but making sure that the stuff that we have works correctly. So we need to get together with the devs, get together with the data team, and make sure that they look over stuff from this weekend and go, yes, this is how it's supposed to be working, or is there something that we didn't anticipate? Because again, we only have a staff of so many people that are testing and messing around with things at one single time. This weekend was the most people poking around in that code that it's ever had poking around in it. So we need to make sure that go through and do an inventory of what broke and what didn't.
Fair enough. Uh, all right. Well, it seems like that's a halfway decent update for this morning. We have 18 bugs that are left between now and release, and as soon as we can crank those babies out, that's our next piece. Um, we'd love to get some feedback. There's different opinions about what Land 1.5 does. Does it scratch the itch? Is it not enough? Is it great and you're excited? Really, we'd love to hear from you guys and just tell us about your experience working with this thing, and the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, come on
So,
here. It's just don't please don't just leave the two of us talking the entire time.
yeah, this is meant to be you guys. Oh, that's
God.
fantastic. I was going to go call out Dave McCoy and ask him to come talk to us. And instead, he just freaking comes up on his own. There's a Matt Clark. He's a castle owner. In fact, I believe he's a double sentinel. So I don't know if Matt wants to come on and kind of tell us his experience and his thoughts, but I'd love to hear those too. Is
Well, I'm here, Aggie. Thanks for
excellent. It's wonderful to hear your voice, Dave. How are things?
going good. I've,
So
I've been busy all weekend playing with the module you guys have set up called Land.
And so what are your first impressions? Is it underwhelming, overwhelming? It feels about right. Are we at a Goldilocks, or like just high level impressions so far?
I think that it's still a ways away in terms of being released because there's still some display issues that need to go through. But by and large, I think it was overwhelming in terms of what it's going to be. In other words, after getting a chance to play with it and put cards on it and see how many time crystals I need and how much grain it's going to use, I can now envision, there it's going to be a big deal, a huge deal. So I'm pretty excited about it. I would say on the the feedback in terms of like what I think needs to be done before it gets fixed. For instance, like when I go to claim my grain and the cost, to feed the workers from that plot, like I'm not getting those to match, and I don't know how to figure out like why it's not. Like there's no ability to do that. So, that's one of the things I wanted to give some feedback on is, like in the case of SPS or deck, if I have a problem or think something's wrong, I can figure it out because there's a balance, where you can go in and check. And so we save you guys a lot of time. In the case of this, we don't have anything like that. So I wanted to give that as a suggestion in some way. And it may be just because like all the buttons aren't filled in. So, that could be an issue. But overall, like I'm super excited. I've come up with several strategies. I keep changing them because I'm like, hey, I could do this. Oh wow, I could do that. And you know, uh, maybe like last night I was thinking maybe I could do my natural my natural commons. I might do SPS right off the bat because it only costs 50 time crystals to switch. So just ideas like that are starting to come up, and I'm stoked, and I'm really going to be excited when 2.0 comes out when we get 50 different resources. I think our minds are going to be blown at that point.
Yeah, especially with all the liquidity pools that we have to put together for that. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
do you guys know when liquidity pools are coming? Are they going to be in 1.6 or is that a 2.0 thing?
I
I
think it's closer to 1.6. I don't think it's a 2.0 thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm stoked about liquidity pools too.
we still have some internal questions about how we want to do this, but early release might be something like just do it on a Hive engine and tribal decks. A longer term release, we're kind of hoping to have all that run by the like validator network itself. So we're we're still trying to think through what's the best option and what's the way to layer that. But um, that to me that wasn't like core. That wasn't core, right? The core is that you have to stake monsters and land to get resources. Everything outside of that is nice to have.
Right.
Um, so that's kind of like where we drew the line, and I think once this is out and like battle tested for a week or two, and we see that it's stable, and right now all indications are that this whole thing is stable and working. So um,
Yeah, I would like to say that to my fellow Mavs out there, that obviously, we joke a lot about being salty and stuff like that, but in my opinion, this was an incredibly good decision to release it to us because even if we're getting a Tapas era or we can't do this or we can't do that, in my opinion, this is exactly what you guys need is to see, let a whole bunch of people come at it, and figure out, what's not working. And like some things, like the Tapas era, I think it's just a server issue. You guys don't have a big enough server, which is
mhm.
irrelevant for when you go live. So I guess I would say let's try to be constructive and less, less salty, when it comes to the testing part of it, because in my opinion, this is awesome that you guys put it out for us to test and we can figure out, you know, essentially, or you guys can figure out what we think, basically.
were you able to get to the screen where you could see like the SPS harvest amount ticking up?
Yes.
Like, is that not the greatest thing?
Yeah.
Just watching that ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding.
Yeah, and too bad the test server's not. There's going to be more people farming SPS when it's live. But yeah, it was. I think I had a 9,000 PP plot. That was earning like 51 SPS an hour. I'm like, holy crap! If this stays
If
this way,
only.
everybody's going to go nuts.
Well, the math is great. I mean, like you have 150,000 plots, and it used to be it went to everybody. Then it shrunk down to just the people that had opened their plots, and so everybody saw like an increase in the amount of SPS that they were earning. And now it's going to go to just the people that are participating in land and staking their units and whatnot. So it's going to concentrate even further, and the people that are the most active at the beginning, I think, are going to go catch the greatest windfall. So um,
Yeah, and I would imagine quite a bit of deck is going to be burned buying time crystals and or grain to
and
support that process.
power cores
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Rearbeard, do you have any idea how many people bought the starter kits? Is it like
I'd have to go
50?
pull it up. I have no idea.
Okay. I haven't. I never checked, but I'm wondering if it was like 10% or 50% or 100%. I on one region I bought it, and on one region I didn't. Um, so if I'm any gauge, it's 50%. Um, but that's going to determine, like you said, if there's 150,000 plots and every plot needs 5,000, so 150,000 times 5,000 is 750 million DEC. And let's say that half of the people got the plots, that's 375 million DEC that you need just for power cores. So we're going to chip away at this in lots of different ways. And uh, I've been saying forever, push and shove, there's not enough for anybody. The second that land goes live, you guys are going to be shocked at how little like how little of the resources there are that you were expecting and hoping for.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm I could see that right off the bat because, as soon as you get started, the first thing you have to do is like after you put your cards on is you want to make it live, basically, And who wants to in the very beginning on the very first plot not use those time crystals to get it going,
Yeah. Yeah.
and especially if you've tested it, you definitely want to see that SPS coming, right off the bat. So
If you didn't get the time crystals, and it's going to be like, you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're like, 8 days. 8 days. Are you effing kidding me? I got to sit here and wait 8 days.
But listen, that's with really good cards. I've pulled up when I've put jank cards on there, and it's been like, hey, guess what? 54 days. Strap in, buddy. And you're just like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll use some time crystals. That's fine. Maybe you're not going to use it on every single plot, but you're going to want them, especially at the beginning, right? Like
Yeah.
at the very beginning, that's when the APR is highest, right? Like, because that's when the fewest people are here, and some people aren't ready, and even if they have all their stuff, they're still at work and they couldn't get back, and like you have the smallest group of people at the very beginning of this thing. I know internally for me, I'm like itching to go get these cards there. And like, I'm gonna be like, peace out, guys. Don't call me for an hour or like maybe 8 hours until all my cards are on land. I will be doing nothing productive. Maybe taunting people in Mavs when like every time I get 100,000 PP plot up and running, I'll be like, all right, anybody can match this one yet? But like, do you have that same urge? You're sitting there with like a bunch of land and a bunch of cards. Are you thinking to yourself, I got to be there day one getting this thing up and running?
yeah, I mean, the one thing I learned, just a simple thing by going through the Mav chat or the Mav server, is the way the cards are sorted. They go by highest PP to the lowest PP, or you can reverse it and go from the lowest up. And I got like 10,000 cards, so scrolling is not really an option if I want to do anything quick. So I've realized that the best way was when that gun goes off, I better know like what my top 10 plots are going to be, and have them in order, and go right from the top, because otherwise if I'm having to scroll to find cards, I'm gonna be missing out on
The
getting
wrap.
locked in.
Yeah. So what are you planning on doing first? Which
I'm
which
gonna
are your highest priority?
I'm gonna make sure. Well, I'm gonna do my occupieds to get SPS, and then I'm gonna do my legendary naturals to make sure I get grain to feed those guys. So, and then after that, then I'll focus on research and then filling out all my small. I'm trying to do all my plots. So, I had
How-
2,000. I'm trying to make sure I get something reasonable on every plot. So
That that's
that's
that's a giant task.
yeah,
Uh,
I
I
know.
I have no idea how long that's going to take. I have one of the largest collections in the game, and I'm just thinking to myself, this is this is going to take me hours. Which on the one hand is frustrating, and I'm like, I don't want to click for hours, and on the other hand, I'm like, oh shit, I get to click for hours. This is awesome.
Now, one
Yeah.
of the other things that I wanted to bring up, Dave, while you're here, is we actually had a comment from Key to the Gate a few minutes ago, saying, looking past the release of Land 1.5, what could we expect for the end of year, early 2024, and how much bottleneck effect might dev work towards Land 2.0 cause for these other targets? From your perspective, now that we kind of have 1.5 out in the light, and we're doing other things as well, are you excited to what are you excited for post land release, right? Like we get all our stuff set up. What are the things that you're hoping for, and really just kind of craving being able to see?
Well, a couple things. One, I'm extremely excited about the implementation tomorrow for the battle helper and bots out of modern ranked tourneys and brawls. I think that's going to set the condition to be able to increase retention. When we have the next set, which is Rebellion. So Rebellion is going to be one thing I'm looking forward to, because that's going to completely change modern, and I think it's going to be not only good for the company to be able to raise money, but I think it's going to be fun because it's going to be a whole new way to play the game again, because of the new meta. And then the other thing I'm hoping for is I'm hoping you guys do the modes that Redbeard, that you were working on. Um, I want to, in other words, I think everybody everybody has a hard time thinking in the future, and in my opinion, you know, we the future, you've actually figured out the future, which is different ways to use your cards and different ways to play the game. And then all of a sudden, I think everybody can visualize, why these assets are important and what's the next step. And a lot of people, can't see that. So getting those new modes out, I think is going to be huge too. So I guess I would say Rebellion, the new modes, and then the third thing I think is going to be huge is literally just a white paper for Land 2.0, so that we can actually, as we're earning the grain and as we're earning, our research, just getting an idea of like what's coming. Like that could, that could give us 5 months of excitement just trying to figure out, how that's going to work. So, um, I guess those are the three things I'm looking for, and I think we're on the verge of some pretty awesome things.
Anything you want to share about those, Weirdbeard?
Um, we definitely are in deep conversation on a lot of this stuff. Like um, some people might be like, "Oh, we are doing too much talking of planning and like, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? What do we want to do?" And I think that's foolish because we need to know like step 1, step 2, step 3, and we have a very like built out solid plan for what our next steps are. And it makes me feel good that we're able to we spent a lot of time talking about stuff that we wanted to do, but that's different than planning. Planning is how do you do it? And then what has to be done in order to do those other things. And we are finally at a place where land can start getting out there and 1.5 can start releasing. We instantly know what we need to do for 1.6. We know what we need to do for right afterwards for some of the eventual rebellion stuff and what we want to do with that. And then even after rebellion coming out, like we have a lot of things that are finally getting off the ground that have just been sitting in an oven baking forever. And it makes me feel good. Like I'm very excited to be able to continue moving forward with it. And players want a way to use different, not only cards in a play sense, but they want updates to a lot of the things that we offer in general, including that new player experience, which we're very, very like set on how we do. We know exactly what we want to do. We just need the time frame to be able to do it. And I think that's where I'm at. That's where I want to be is talking more about these next upcoming things. Not that we want to ignore Land 1.5 and like getting it over the finish line, but it's there. Now it's just it's finalizing all the stuff that we already have. There's no discovery process really for it anymore. So that's fun for me.
Yeah, I think the trick is to go get out 1.5, show that we are honoring one of our oldest commitments here. Land selling the land sale was pretty early on. Um, so, you know, let's get land 1.5 out and start building on top of that. We're not we have plans and we know what we want to do next, but we're not trying to go crazy overemphasizing them just because, let's do one thing at a time. Let's get excited about land. And then we can show you some of the other things that we've been working on in parallel and what we have kind of planned next.
Well,
But
it's like when it
it's a
comes
little
down
hush
to
hush
yeah, when
till
it
then.
comes down to it, like land, right? What we want to do for 2.0 would not be possible if we did not know what we had to do in 1.5 to make 2.0 possible, right? Like it's always building on top of each other, and it's bad when we just if we fire from the hip and we just go, oh, let's go do this cool thing, because what always will happen is 8-9 months later we'll be like, damn it, why did we not spend the time previously to do the way that it would have made life so much better now? And that's a mistake we as a company have made a lot of times in the past, and we're just not going to do it anymore. Like I fingers crossed, we're
Yeah.
not gonna we're not
We're
gonna attempt to do it anymore.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna attempt to stop doing it.
Yes.
Um, all right. So Dave, if you had to give us a 1 out of 10 for how we're looking for land 1.5, give us a ballpark. How we doing?
And in terms of quality of the eventual product, I would give it a 10. In other words, I'm really impressed with what's going to be there. I would say in terms of time, I'm a little less optimistic than what you guys seem to think, with 16 bugs or whatever. It seems to me it's going to be, 2, 3 weeks, before it is live. But, having said that, uh, time is no big deal, in my opinion. Getting it right is the most important. So I'm extremely happy with how it's going to go.
And you're a difficult man to satisfy, has been my experience, Dave. So if you're a 10, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a 10 too. I just freaking love this thing. I'm really excited about what we put together. And I think it's going to scratch the itch. The main thing to me is that we have to get DEC out of circulation. We have to get these cards out of circulation. And this thing, I think, is going to do it in spades. And if folks like you who can be hypercritical are looking at this and still saying, yeah, this is a 10, then honestly, we fucking knocked it out of the park. And that's a great way to start this call. And, I'm glad you feel that way. And I also trust you that, if you didn't feel that way, I'm sure I'd be getting an earful right now. And that's just Dave. And that's how it works. But, that's the blessing of this, is that, like, if my biggest critics are not sitting here criticizing this product, it means that we really knocked it out of the park. So that's my current that's my current take on this, and I'm glad you feel that way. We're working hard to make it work like that.
Definitely. And thanks for all the hard work. I know when you get in there and you figure, you see everything and how it works and how complicated it is. I mean, you realize just how much work has been put in. And I think a lot of times, you guys don't get the respect, that you should get. I mean, the devs that are getting this done I mean, they're creating everything from scratch. I mean, it's pretty damn amazing. So, hats off to them too.
And this is the biggest project Splinterlands has ever done.
By
So
far.
by far. So and it's here. It is here. We are at the precipice. We have 18 bugs between us and release, and I'm excited. I'm just frankly pumped. We're gonna get these cards on there. We're gonna soak up this DEC, and if God willing, we hit par with DEC again, it's gonna be lightning and thunder. It's gonna be fireworks. It's gonna be explosive. And man, am I pumped for that.
Not if, when.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. Let's
I,
go.
it's 18 bugs, Dave. 18
Yeah.
bugs between us and then.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad
Thank
to have you.
you.
And thanks for your support here. Glad you dig it.
Love it.
Okay. Next up. Um, the do we have somebody else on here, Mr. Ron?
We have some questions in chat. We have nobody in queue for Mike.
Come
right.
join us on stage. If you're
Yeah.
in right now, go to the main stage. You click the little hand that says become a speaker, hold it up, and then you'll be able to join us on stage, just like Dave McCoy did. More than anything else, we want people to be able to come and tell us, so that it's not just us talking at you. Some of the questions in chat right now, an ETA on Brawl Fray adjustments, you could expect those on the October 3rd release, which will be nice and fun for you. Are we planning to have a time period for people to set up their land before it goes live, like 24 hours, no rewards? People don't have to stay up all night if it goes live at a bad time for them. As it stands right now, we have no grace period. It's going to be as soon as it's live and it's out there. It's time to go. But I guess we're always. I don't even know if we would be able to do that. Like if that's a whole thing that would have to be changed in the code or whatnot, because it's like once it's up and connected and it's plugged in, then it's going. Yeah, somebody said that they have cores for 10% of their region. That seems like a problem. So you're probably going to want to have to deal with that.
You might want to get some DEC while it's still sitting under par.
Intrepid Surfer, I don't have enough of anything. Join the club.
I want to go ahead. Sorry to interrupt real quick, though. I want to remind the audience, the chat is in the town hall text channel. Don't chat in the main stage text channel. The host will not see you.
Yeah, we're in town hall.
And we do have Infidel on deck, so whenever you guys are done with the text, just let me know and I'll bring him on.
We're ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Infidel, are you there?
I clicked the button and it made him go away. Let me give him an invite.
God, I wish I could do that in real life. Oh, what do you know? Whoops, I pushed the button. You're gone now.
Okay, I have invited him to speak. Not quite sure what's going on. Something's kind of funky. There we go. Now he's here. Nope. What's going on? I think that
Hello.
there we go.
Hello.
Ta-da!
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How are things?
Ah,
Infidel, hello.
hey guys. So quick, just
Um,
Apparently he's having some technical difficulties. I think I see it showing him as a speaker 3 times in the log files. And then something disconnected him. Raise your hand once again when you're ready. Maybe you might need to disconnect and reconnect. Maybe that'll help.
Weber, do you want to just share any of your thoughts on land in terms of like, you've actually used it, staked cards, and done the thing. What's your experience?
I mean, my experience is that I think that it needs to be refined. It not in a like horrible, oh my god, this is terrible way, but making sure that we're iterative on this is really important, I think, and being able to we have to make this accessible. We have to continue to make it as like brain dead as possible for people to be able to come in and use. It's a really complex underlying system, you know. There's lots of parts and pieces here and there, and even people that are in our community are already like, "Wow, this can get tough sometimes," and that's fine. Like it's not made for babies. It doesn't have to be completely brain dead, but moving towards getting it as easy and simple as possible is the challenge that I think Web3 products as a whole have, right? Like you
Hello,
always want to
hello.
be hello, welcome back. You always want to be trying to strive to get more people in with as little friction as possible. So that's what I would like.
Rock on. Infidel, are you there?
I am. Thanks, guys.
All right, go for it.
So a couple quick things if I could. I just wanted to say first, I guess, happy birthday, Ag. Second,
Hey, thanks.
I was wondering. I've seen comments on my channel and maybe even in recent town halls. This is not land specific, but since no one's popping on, I wanted to throw this out there. People, I think Gathering the Magic suggested that Splinterlands should just create ways for us to say thank you. There are people who would at times just like donate DC or SPS or different value, different crypto value. And I mean, you guys create 2 hours a week of live content every week. And then there's just so much more too within the Discord. Like, I mean, I think the reason I'm bringing it up is one, because people are concerned about runaway. Two, there's money out there that would want to say thank you. And then three, I think hearing your answer on this might actually give people some of the confidence that I think maybe you're walking in, because you've kind of said no to this point on taking people's money in that way. And I wonder if you could just kind of speak to why Splinterlands either won't or yet, at least as yet hasn't created a way for us to donate as like an appreciation or a thank you, because that might give us a sense of your mindset on Runway.
Um, so this is like a 4-year-old conversation that I had with Matt, and it was something like, at times this job seems really thankless. There's lots of people that don't appreciate what we're doing and give us a lot of shit, and it just at times feels really thankless. And he's like, "No, Aggie, that's wrong. Every time that these people buy cards, that's like some like accessible expression of appreciation of what we've done." Um, so I don't, I'm a little bit nervous about markets and runway and the business, but honestly, um, my brain looked at that final dip that we had on September 11th, and I said,
Mhm.
that's the best that the Bears could muster. They were about to get freaking hosed.
Mm.
So personally, I think this sort of like sideways chop is about to end. Um, Secondly, we have land, which is supposed to go start soon. We have some internal dates that we are hoping to hit that are not yet external, but I would categorize them as soon. 18 bugs is not insurmountable. And so if you were looking for ways to like express your gratitude or positively participate in this ecosystem, I would tell you buy as much DEC as you can at a discount. And once you're done doing that, buy as much SBS as you can hold and potentially burn that for DEC to participate in land as much as you can.
Yeah.
That, rather than just give us a donation and be like, I hope this helps you guys out. I would rather you and all of your peers be as selfish as humanly possible and try to get as many resources into this game as possible and stake the ever living crap out of land. I know that that's exactly what I plan on doing when this goes live. And then once that's done, we really didn't want to have any kind of major revenue generating event prior to land getting out. Like you look at Nakamigos and D-Gods and Yuga Labs and all those guys just put out additional PFPs without doing any like real utility. Prices dropped, players were frustrated or collectors were frustrated. You can't just infinitely inflate. So here's a major promise that we've had outstanding to the community for a while. It is still an outstanding promise as land is a very large project and this is not the end, but this is a major delivery that we're putting out to you guys. And it is my hope we will be describing some of the revenue generating opportunities after land comes out. They won't be too long behind it. And it is my hope that you guys will participate in that. And again, don't give us money because you think, hey, we're cool guys or we've tried hard. I hope that you look at that and you're as selfish as humanly possible and think, I need to collect as much of this before other people do because it's cool, it's fun. This is a unique opportunity, a fantastic time, and hopefully we have bullish tailwinds. I
Yep.
mean, I don't have a crystal ball and I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you in my own experience, I started with zero trading background and I have spent basically the last 2 years really trying to figure out how trading works. And it is my current call that we are like the altcoins and the market in general, the last kind of shitty bear market whispers died on September 11th and of this year. And we are now in for the next parabolic run. Do I know that for sure? No. Does anybody? No. But and am I like hiring 10,000 people because of it? No. We try to be as conservative as humanly possible around here. That's how we survive. But I am now. I have breathed a sigh of relief. I am really stoked for what's coming, and I feel like we have a product that is about to launch and land that is going to do extraordinary things for this community. And if you're looking to express that gratitude, there'll be an opportunity coming up here at a timeline that Weirdbeard is willing to announce at whatever time he wants. But it's I can't say it's soon, but it's coming up.
Awesome, good stuff. Thanks,
And,
guys.
and thanks for
Love
that intention. Thanks for looking out for us. We like, I don't. Things are rough, but they're not that dire, and our timelines are looking pretty good. And I think the market's about to massively improve. So, if you want to help us, think selfish, get as much stuff as you can, put it on land, and when there's new opportunities, come play with us.
I love the Ayn Rand type vibes coming from Yag. That it's true. Just everybody get selfish. Buy what you need to buy, what you think you should buy for a game you think you enjoy and you love, and then watch what that does as the ecosystem, like the free market element, kind of pushes that to a new place because demand is what demand is, right? And the supply is limited. So fireworks, that's where fireworks can happen with DEC, with SPS, with everything. That's my future too, my expectations. So thanks, guys. Love it. Appreciate you having me on. Have an amazing day.
Can I get one last input from you from a question that was just posted in there?
Of course, yeah.
All right, you are now on the Splinterlands team in a thought exercise for this, right? Ask somebody. John is asking, is there a potentially unlimited card inflation with new sets coming out? Is maintaining the value of older card sets going to be a purposeful and intentional focus of the team, or is it just not that important? What do you think? What's your take on, hey, new card sets are coming out and that may affect the value of older card sets? Where are you at and how do you take that?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you have to say when you unpack a conversation like that is that you can't go 30,000 feet and say the question of card inflation. Then there's new cards coming. Yes or no? Yes, there is, but that's too unspecific because you have to then get into what are those cards going to be like. If for instance you could look at alpha packs and alpha cards and then you compare them to not betas because they were literally, except for the neutrals that were added within the beta series, they were replicas, and that was created at a time when there just needed to be more cards and there wasn't time, I guess, to create new assets. But then if you look at every other pack, they're so unique and different. And if you were to get really granular and look at peak monsters or your favorite market and try and see which cards, like look at main tanks, look at off tanks that have no attack, and then try and compare, for instance, Gelatinous Cube to like Bakjira, and then ask questions about how one would fit in one game mode versus another. You begin to recognize very quickly as you get granular, not 30,000 foot, you start to see that every card has its unique niche. And then you get into rule sets too, because some are common, some are legendary, that some are going to be excluded, some are 5 mana, some are 6, and that's gonna, all those little uniquenesses, though superficially might feel like it's a redundancy or a replica. It has its niche because it only fits into modern and the other one doesn't. Or examples, the variety of changes that are available make it fit in one niche, not another. And the game has always understood that, and the developers have always seen that, and that's why we see things like Modern League coming in and saying, look, these are the sets that apply here. If you want to play in this pool, you're going to be maximally benefited by having these cards max, whereas wild and then tournaments are the same thing. So and then land and production points associated with how each card have a different PP. And even CP, and even though that didn't work optimally, in the end we pulled away from it. There's always been an effort here to honor and to grandfather and to benefit some of those older assets. And I think that has been, the only way you doubt that is when you get 30,000 foot and you say, well, they're making more packs. That's a new card inflation, which is technically true, but then get granular and recognize that they're nothing like the old cards, or even if they're not exchangeable for, because of the nature of how leagues work, events work, and rule sets work.
So one high level thing about that is, like, again, this is something that's taking me years to kind of like come to this conclusion, and I think it's a pretty simple conclusion, but it took me years to kind of figure out what this looks like. It is the job of the sales team to go inflate cards. And we have to do that so that we have things to sell so that we can generate money. We are looking at other ways to generate money that's sort of like this recurring revenue model. And we want to explore other things. Battle Pass is a good example of that. But generally, at the high level, it is a job of the sales team to inflate cards. And then I turn to Mr. Weirdbeard here, representing the product team. And I think it is the products team job to take those cards out of circulation.
Yeah.
And that can be through various staking means, through various game modes, through whatever experience that we want to provide. We have to think of new ways to go take the cards that you have and utilize them to get resources or benefits that you are excited about and are unique to that piece that we are adding to the game. So there it is. It's a push and a pull mechanism. It is the job of the sales team to inflate, to sell, and it is the job of the product team to not quite deflate, because we're not, but to take them out of circulation, to give them all a purpose, and make sure that we don't feel like there is a vast surplus of cards on the market. We have gotten to the point where there is a vast surplus of cards because we didn't understand this whole push and pull mechanism early enough. But now that we get it, that's the engine. Half the engine is to go push out new cards, and then the other half is to go find a home for them. And if we do that, we will try to value and honor the old card holders as much as we can. We will try to honor that the people that are purchasing new cards are sort of the lifeblood of the company, and there's value to that as well. And there will be separate and different benefits for these things. And this is how we, as a community and as a team, can have nice things.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well is trying to understand what, like, the conversation around holding value is automatically a weird one because it's like value is a different thing to many different people. It's not just monetary value. It's, play value. Do they like playing with it? Are they having fun? Um, I don't know. There's all different things that people need to sort of keep in mind when they're talking about what is value to different people.
All right. Anything else, Infidel?
Just thanks, guys. Love it. So excited for land. And one last thing, actually, if there's any way you guys can use some of the opportunities that you have, like on here or even YouTube, could we survey people? Like, it's so exciting to see. I don't know who just Dave was on there. I missed who that was talking, but he's gonna load up 2,000 plots of land. I think I people have been talking about how many plots are going to go active. I'd love to see just even informal surveys about the audience that's here. Say I'm activating 75% of my plots or 100 because I'm starting to believe that maybe we're going to be more than 40 or 50%. But I'm excited. Love it, guys. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
All right, we got one more person in the queue. Level Up Life is requesting to speak.
Let's go.
Sure. Hey, Level Up Life. How's the Philippines, bro?
Yo, what's going on, man? Can
What's
you guys hear
up?
me?
Yes. Hello. Welcome.
Hello from the Philippines, man. Yeah, it's 11 p.m. here, and I thought I'd just come on and say I'm excited for land, and I think what you guys have shown me so far looks really exciting. I'm excited to get the live version out and run with everybody. Let's get
Can
DEC to peg. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Can you give me a little insight? Because I know that we have a really passionate Filipino player base, right? Like
Uh-huh.
lots of people in the Philippines. Mango Mayhem, I know, is always in here as well from the Philippines. What's the conversation like amongst other Filipino players that you're speaking with, and sort of what are the hopes and dreams and goals of what players are looking forward to?
Me and Mango actually live in the same city. We go
That's
out for
funny.
coffee. As a matter of fact, we were at the gym. We were at the gym this morning working out together. So, um, we were running local meetups where we're from, and we really saw the boom when Axie Infinity took off. We had a lot of guys that it was the easiest thing to do was just grab a Filipino who was playing Axie Infinity and tell them to play Spinalands, and they would play, and they would just drop Axie Infinity immediately with like a few explanations of what Spinalands was, and so it was like super easy, and we could just pack a bar full of guys that are playing Spinalands. And then we rode the bull market. The winds changed, and we rode it out. We're still riding it out, and I'm probably a little bit more. Me and Mango have an interesting relationship because he is a very very passionate battle player of the battle part of the game, and I actually don't play the battle card game at all. Was never really interested in it. I kind of came in during land presale, bought my land in presale, and really have just never lost the optimism for land. I bought in. I really believe that land and metaverse or land in games, having a house in a game, things like that. I really think virtual real estate or whatever you want to, all these different terms. I'm a big believer in that as a long-term trend, and I think that Splinterlands was just where I decided to ride that whole trend out. So I'm here. I'm excited about it, and I think in general, Filipinos are, we have a group called Team PH, and the main purpose of Team PH is to support Filipino Spinalands players. That's really it boils down to. So we grab all the Filipinos that play Spinalands, and we just how can we support you? And so I'll give you here's how I feel about it. Okay, here's how I feel about the Filipino community and Splinterland specifically is Filipinos are very quick to spread the word, right? So if the wind changes, immediately, I'll give you an example. When the whole bot thing went down and the battle helpers and stuff was turned off, we saw old players that we haven't seen since like the Mango Bar meetups come back in like, guys, what's going on? I heard, like something's exciting's happening here. We're like, hey, bro, nice to see you again. I haven't seen you in a year and a half.
Yeah.
And they came in to see what was going on, and then it was kind of like, it's like they popped their head in, and everybody's like, well, not so fast, bro, not so sure, and then when everything shifted back, it's so crazy because they literally just like left again, right? And so that's kind of how I see it. You know what I mean? They're very quick to, for example, if you guys implement this TOS and everything goes good, like that same guy that left, now he comes back again, like, hey guys, I heard everything shifted again. You know what I mean? And so I think if we can get, a little bit of like macro, Bitcoin sort of crypto market sentiment shift, and Splinterlands also, nails some of these key highlights, I mean, I think we're ready to roll. I mean, I think we're back into filling bars again. I mean, I think we're back into meetups with hundreds of people. I mean, I think we're ready to rock and roll. I feel like we're positioned. I feel like everything's good to go. I feel like Splinterlands is nailing, the time with the overall macro market, which I don't think is a coincidence. And I think we're good, man. I'm feeling good. I've been waiting. I'm ready for land, man. I think for me, land is an opportunity. I guess you can consider me a land whale. I'm one of the biggest DEC liquidity providers on Hive.
Let's go.
By the way, I don't plan on pulling any of my. I've heard a lot of rumors, guys. So you heard it straight from me. I'm planning not to pull any of my liquidity. So I will be purchasing extra DEC for land and keeping all my liquidity in there.
I'm taking all of mine out, and I'm
Great. Hey,
you're
I'm
about
excited.
You're gonna
Boost
get a
my
windfall
yield.
from Uncle
Let's
Aggie.
go. All right.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. Okay, great. So basically, I'm just ready to go, man. I am ready. For me, this game was always about land for me. I don't play the battle game. I haven't played a battle in a year, not even one. And I don't run a bot. I don't do any of that stuff. I literally am just sitting here collecting cards and collecting DEC and ready to just blast it into land. So
Sweet.
I'm excited for it, man. I think land is an opportunity for guys like me. I don't know how many of them are out there to like actually support. I can't code. I can't help, from the team, from the development aspect of this, but what I can do is go hard on the game. I can go hard, play hard. I'm ready to help DEC get back to peg. And for me, land is that tool. Like if I'm the hammer, land to me is the nail. You know what I mean? And I need land so that I can swing my hammer at this friggin' nail. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
I think there's a lot of people that have not deployed capital into the game for a long while, waiting for something new or something different or something that is worthy of deploying said capital. And you heard Dave McCoy and you've heard others yourself. You guys seem excited about this. This isn't just some like ho hum who the hell cares. It's not some tiny promotion card that isn't going to make a dent. I mean, I think people see the extent of what we've put together, that it's really freaking cool, and they plan to participate. I mean, I don't know how many people are like, screw that, I'm not doing that. I mean, there's literally zero reason that if you have cards and you're not using them, the smartest thing you can do is put them on land. So, maybe if you have like some Yodins, it might be better to still rent them. But, for every other card that isn't one of like the top battle cards in the game, you're probably going to get the best return by choosing to stake it on land and getting your grain, your research, or your SBS. And I like the time commitment part. I mean, not everybody wants to be a hardcore, Splinterlands gamer. and that's okay. And some people are going to cycle in and cycle out, and that's okay. But what we don't want them doing is like dumping their collection the minute that they're done playing. We want them to be like, oh, I guess I could just buy some land and stake it here and build it that way, and give people opportunities to put their capital to work.
I mean, I think you guys nailed it, man. I think everything looks great to me. I'm excited about it. I think you guys did a great job. It looks polished. It looks good. And I think I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of gamers out there too. I think that, they don't want to buy something when they can't play it yet. And I think there's a lot of people that will sit down on, Friday night when they get their paycheck and think, what am I going to do with my weekend? And they're thinking, well, I'll just put $100 into Splinterlands land because I can play it now. And I don't think the same guy is going to sit down and go, well, I think what I'll do with my weekend is I'll just buy a plot of land and dream about what land will be like. Right. So I think a lot of guys just need like something, they need a little gameplay. They, I'll go figure out what cards I'm going to put on it. I'll go, check Rooney prices. I'll go, as check titles, and figure out how much PP I can get, see if I can read the white paper and optimize. And there'll be an actual something for them to do. And I think we'll see, I follow the amount of accounts. I think one of the best indicators we have of really active players is how many accounts are holding at least one plot of land. Because I think, there's no reason for like, if you have a bot army, there's no reason for you to spread your land out over 1,000 bot accounts. It doesn't make any sense. So I think that's a good indicator. And I watched that number. I've been watching that number tick up. I think when land is actually playable, I think we'll see a lot of like accounts that start holding, 1-2 plot of lands that they bought over a weekend because they were bored, and yeah, I'm excited to see that tick up. And for me, the gun going off for land is the moment when you do not get SPS airdrops anymore just for holding a land plot. I
Yeah.
don't think if people realize this, but you could have a castle and you could have a common natural land and you're getting the same 1.5 SPS airdrop as everyone, and that's just, for me, the game changes once you say, hey, the SPS is no longer spread across the board. It's now you got to play for it. And
Yeah,
that
you
to
got to
me
play
is
for it.
play.
Yeah.
That's the game, man. Let's play for that SPS. Let's
You got to
play.
race.
You
Gotta
got to
race.
race, man. That's the gun going off for me, man. It's like, let's go. And then I'm excited from a community level to just like all of us playing that game together is going to help drive DEC to peg, and let's go. That's what we've been waiting for. So I'm excited, man.
Yeah. Well, come play with us. Come stack. Get your Splintoshis to the max level that you can. Get your SBS. Put some cards down and come race with us. I'm I'm dying to get this thing out there.
And look, the last thing I'll say, and then I see some hands up, I'll jump off. But the last thing I just want to say is, specifically regarding like the Filipino community. I've said this to Dave and McCoy, and something I feel pretty strong about is I don't believe that Filipinos and bots and battle helpers can exist side by side. I think there is some, there's some whale Filipino players and there's some rich Filipino players and whatnot, but the general community is just not going to be able to play side by side. And so I really applaud, Dave McCoy for going out there and Weirdbeard and, and all you guys really who have, looked at the battle helper and this TOS change and all this stuff. And I know for a lot of players it might not make a big deal, but for the Filipino players, for the, let's say, the scholar, this if we can coin it, the scholarship thing. I know we don't actually have like the scholarship like Axie Infinity and Splinterlands, but if we'll just coin it as scholar, that scholar system cannot coexist with battle helpers and bots. And I think by this whole modern shift and having this safe space for humans is really the number one most important thing for if you don't care about the Filipino community, if it's not a big deal, then it doesn't matter. But if you care about the Filipino community, this right here is one of the biggest things. I mean, land is exciting, and things like this, but specifically from a Filipino community standpoint, this battle helper modern and this whole movement thing that's happening with this safe space for human players is a really, really big deal for a Filipino community, And I think if we can create this, and if we can create this sort of safe space that we're trying to create, we will see, especially as this narrative and momentum shifts that we're kind of starting to feel in the crypto space, we will see the Filipinos come back 10 times harder than they came back last bull run.
Yeah, the comeback is always bigger than the setback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Thanks,
gotta
guys.
I gotta hop. I know that there's still some questions, but I'm due for my next meeting. I'm already a couple minutes late. Weirdbeard, anything you want to sign off with here?
Thanks for being here. We just love you guys.
Yeah, we're doing our best to bring you something truly awesome. And you've heard from some of the, Level Up Life kind of represents a giant chunk of our community. You've heard Dave McCoy, who's been leading and literally elected into representing giant chunks of this community. Infidel as well. You've heard from a couple of folks here that have been around for a while, can look at this and share with you their excitement. Hopefully you are with them on that, because this thing is freaking awesome, and it's almost here. Soon, guys, soon. Thanks, everybody. Let's hop out of here, and
Make
we'll
sure
be
you join
back.
us for around Pretoria tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, around Pretoria during the maintenance window at 11 a.m. We'll be joined by Clay Boyne, so you can get to know on a personal
Clay.
level one of the other longtime employees here, longtime players, and I don't know. Come join us. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks, everybody, and stay blessed.
When chaos reigns and hope is lost, when your darkest days aren't saved by the dawn, we bring the light to help guide the way. We are with you.